Hello again. So you can take a seat. We're ready to start in a few seconds. So please take a seat. So this is the second part. I hope you enjoyed the first one. It was a little bit more serious. This one is supposed to be more fun. But we're still going to talk about technology and music actually. So I will pass the floor to Anton Ritsu, whom you know, who is our technology coordinator and technology teacher at the lycée. Anton, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hi guys. Yeah, most important for me is that when we talk about education the only thing I talk about is, guys, you have two ways for you in front of you. Either you're going to be a creator or you're going to be a consumer. Choose which one you want to be. At the lycée, we work a lot in a spiral of education in technology, starting in kindergarten. And I have just a little example for you. This is the way I always taught. My way is bait and repetition. Most of teachers know that repetition is number one. That works. If you show that kind of thing to children, they will immediately know how I make this ballerina go up and down, how I make this one turn around, and they don't care about anything else. They don't understand that they're gonna learn the basic of mechanics, but they want just those two ballerinas to move. And ideally, they will want also the light to light up. And so there is electricity. There is a cam here. That cam moving up and down will actionate the ballerina going up and down. Here you have the gears. When they will turn, they will make that one rotate. And the repetition will be later in math, when they will learn the geometry, and then they will go to limits, and again they will think about that ballerina they made. It can be anything else, honestly. That's two girls made this. This is 8-year-old. And they did all the edition with a 3D edition software. The gears are 3D printed. The gears are laser cutted, and they use also the laser to make the box. So this is the idea. We want them to be interested first in something, and then they don't know yet, but they will have lots of learning behind this. Imagine, I wish I could do things like that when I was 8. Tonight, I'm going to show you actually what is it to be a creator. We have this wonderful instrument that Pascal will talk just after about it, and our musicians are using technology to create and coding, compose music for tonight with those instruments. So I'll let them show you how they're capable of, what they're capable of.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. Wow. I didn't know what you're going to play tonight, so it's a surprise for me also. I'm Pascal Joué. I'm the inventor of this instrument. I'm going to explain you what it is and how it works, but before digging into that, just an important thing to me is that if you have a look to what they just did, they were improvising. Okay? They were improvising music. They were playing notes that were not written somewhere. And also maybe you have noticed that both of you played the same kind of instruments, but it sounds really different. And what came out of their playing was very different, because as they are improvising, they are putting their own soul into the music, into the notes they were playing. So thank you very much for doing that. I didn't know that you're going to improvise for us. Thank you. I prepared some slide I want to share with you and explain you what is this instrument and where I'm working on that day and night since 3 years. As soon as I get access to the screen, yeah. Okay, here we are. Okay. Thank you. So I'm the inventor and creator of this instrument. Here you can see on the back, which is called, it's a company called Joué, and we make different kind of instruments. I'm gonna explain that, but before explaining how it works and what it does, I would like to get back to my own story, because the topic of tonight is also linked to education and technology, and I think I would like to share some part of my story about that. When I was young, when I was a kid, school for me was really boring. I was not really good, you know, at school, and to me it was just a waste of time. And I have to say that even if my mother was a teacher, so it was really disappointing for us, for her. I realized later on that I really started to learn things when I did it by myself on Wikipedia. And between the age of 20 up to 40, I think I learned that much, and still learning today. Thanks to all the information available, as we heard before. So I'm a kind of prototype, because I'm 45 now, so I'm a kind of prototype of what all children are living today, you know, the experience they have with technology. So I think it's really, really powerful. But then, to get back to the previous talk, I think us as adults, as teachers, we must position ourselves as guides to our children, and not only teaching them things, but because they have access to everything, but we have to guide them through this. So as I said, personally I had a kind of difficult school times. But anyway, I succeeded to make some studies, but I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And I realized by making things that only two things were interesting for me. One was technology and the other one was music. So I decided to try to combine both and make something out of that, even if no real job was existing out of that at that time. I started to make some sound engineering studies and started as a sound engineer in Paris for a few years, and working also at the IRCAM. It's a center of, it's a research center in music and acoustic in Paris. And by doing so, being in contact with a lot of scientists in music, in acoustic, and also a lot of academic music and scientist music. But then I realized that it was too boring for me too, so I resigned from that job and continued to work as a freelance for them. And in the meantime, started to work with computers, making music with computers. I also learned the piano when I was young. I was lucky enough to learn the piano, playing the guitar also, a bit of flute, and using computers to make music with back in 1992. I think it was my first computer making music with. It was a PC running Windows, I don't know. It was a long time ago. At some point I was a sound engineer and I was mixing a movie at Source Georges Pompidou in Paris. And I was supposed to use, you know, the huge console you see on the movies where people are mixing sound and so on. And unfortunately I was not able to get that room because a bigger project came the same day. So I had access to a smaller room, right, close to the bigger one, and had to mix and make the sound design of the entire movie during 3 weeks with only this, a computer. It has been very tough, and at that time I said, oh my God, I would love to being able to touch the computer instead of having my mouse and my keyboard to control it. As a musician and as a sound engineer, I'm used to use my hands and all my fingers at the same time, and even both hands at the same time to do different things. And with the computer, in front of a computer, with the keyboard and the mouse, I'm a kind of locked, you know, in a way I could be creative with that tool. So I have a lot of power into the computer, but then I'm locked because the interface is not adapt to what I want to do. So at that time I said, okay, I would like to touch the screen, it would be much more easier. It's back in 2002, okay? So it means the iPhone is 2007, okay? So it's 5 years before all of us start to have these screens on our pocket, okay? So I talked with two friends and we decided to develop our own technology to do this. And so we started in 2002, and in 2005 we released our first product, which was this one. It's called a Lemur, and it was the very first product on the market with a multi-touch screen. We did it in France, we did it for musicians, and we released this 3 years prior to the iPhone and 5 years prior to the iPad. It was a dedicated computer, integrated computer for musicians. It was a very robust design. Today I call it a Russian iPad. And we developed that from scratch. I mean, we had no idea how to make it. I even didn't know that multi-touch technology was not existing. I thought at that time that I will buy a multi-touch screen, put some graphics on it, and make the stuff. And after 6 months of research on the web, we understood that the multi-touch technology was not existing, in fact. So we had to make it, otherwise the project was useless. So we developed our own technology for the multi-touch. We developed all the graphic engine. We developed the whole product with our hands, and we decided to manufacture that in France on a factory close to us. And it has been a huge success. We have been working with Daft Punk, for instance. They did the Grammy Awards with 4 lemurs on stage, as you can see here. We have been working with Björk, was also using this product on stage during the Volta tour. We have been working also with Richie Sakamoto. For people knowing him, he's a very famous Japanese artist. So it has been a crazy experience with almost, I would say, no knowledge about computer, about technology, but only by passion we succeeded to make this product and have this great artist using it on stage or in the studio. I wanted to tell you that story because regarding education, to me, there is no one way to make it. I mean, it depends on the kids, it depends on the children you're talking to. I have a sister and brother, and they were very happy at school, you know, and they learned a lot of things, and they have a successful career, you know. But I'm just totally different in the mindset. So I think also we should think about education as having different options also for the different kind of mindset people can have and children can have. Go back to the story and then I try to make a connection to what I'm doing now. So I did this multi-touch technology for musicians back in 2005, and then something happened in the world. You may notice that because you're in California, but a guy close to here developed an incredible tool which was called the iPhone, and it changed the life of everybody, and it changed my life even more, I guess, because when Steve Jobs released the iPhone, we were the only other company on earth capable to make multi-touch technology on the screen. But we were 3 guys in a garage in Bordeaux, southwest of France. Okay. So we received calls from all over the world, from Microsoft, from Siemens, from Samsung, from LG, because they wanted us to work with them to bring our technology we did for the music instrument into the form factor of phones. So it was a kind of crazy thing we didn't expect, and we were not ready for that. I was even not really talking English very well at that time. So we were not prepared for that, and well, we tried to find a way to make it. So we transformed the company we had and becoming a music product company to a technology company, selling multi-touch technology to all these guys. It has been a crazy experience. It took 8 years of my life, traveling everywhere from Japan to Taipei to the United States and so on. To make it short, it has been a crazy experience, but I stopped playing the piano during 8 years and stopped making music. And the company didn't succeed to get enough money out of this business, even if we did a bit. And all the money invested in the company was kind of not making enough business out of that. So the company bankrupt in 2015, and then I've been back home and say, okay, what am I going to do now? And I had all this experience of the music first, and then experience about technology and working on crazy gears for the top one, the tier one, you know, phone manufacturers. And I realized that at that time, the only thing that really cared for me was music. And also in the meantime, as I has been working during 8 years on the multi-touch screen technology only, I became allergic to screens. Really, I was not able to touch the display anymore during several months. And at the same time, I was very interested in how technology could be used to make creative tools. It's something I don't have all the clue and all the answer today, but I realized that, well, all the thing we did with the multi-touch screen and multi-touch technology with all the companies all over the world, I could use it and try to make an instrument out of that, to make a creative tool available for everybody. So I decided to work on a new project, and for me this project was about music, was about creativity, was about accessibility to music creation, and also was about no screen. I really wanted to being connected back to music and music creation without having to look at a screen, at a display. So I get back to this and understood that what really motivates me is to talk about music. And because at the end, music is the universal language we're all looking for. If you take two musicians for different countries with different cultures, different religions, you put them on the same room, they will start to jam, and after that jam, they will never fight. There is some great example of that in Israel, for instance, with Palestine. There is a lot of example around the world with that. So basically it means that when we speak the same language, we can communicate. And if we can communicate, we can understand the others, basically. This is all about communication. The thing is that music is the universal language, but if everybody was playing an instrument and making music and understanding that language, it would be a wonderful world, you know, to live in. Because you can connect with people very easily, even if you don't know them. You just play some notes, and it's okay. Okay, we can talk. I can understand you. The thing is that if you look at Western countries, and especially here in the US, but it's also true in Europe and in France, for instance, only a very small portion of the population really play an instrument. It's about 12% here in the US, but when you ask the population if they would like to play, it's more than 82% on top of that. Okay, so basically almost everybody would love to play an instrument, but most of us don't do it. So it's a lot of frustration, you know. It's really frustrating because you wish you would do it, but you're not doing it. Or even for those who try and buy a guitar, for instance, we all buy a guitar to start with because it's the simplest instrument on earth. And Stefan, right there, knows the experience. So the guitar is the most solid instrument on earth, but then the problem is that for 10 guitars sold, 9 are on the second-hand market in the 12 months. Okay, so it means one happy guy or lady for 9 frustrated people. So really the point is how we can make new instruments that could be accessible enough to get people engaged with music creation. If you look at why people don't play music, as I said, the traditional instruments, it's really hard. Who is playing music here, a traditional instrument, just to know? Ah, that's good, yeah. So mainly piano and guitar, I guess. How many guitarists? Oh, not that much, yeah. And pianists, maybe? Okay, drummers? Flutes? Yeah, okay. Others? Which instrument?
Cello.
Cello, okay. Yeah. Clarinet, okay. Great. Violin, great. My father was a violin teacher. Well, it's a long process, you know that. It takes about 10 years to master your instruments, in a sense that you're okay to play for yourself, but if you want to play for others, maybe you have to add 5 other years on top of that. So to perform some music and being comfortable with it in front of an audience, it means at least 15 years of work. It's a lot. It's really tough. Maybe you notice that some people make music today with machines, and they do crazy stuff, and they become very, very popular with that. So all the electronic machines and computers gave this opportunity to people without any musical background or theoric background to make music and being creative, which is crazy and it's just amazing. And I do love that because I'm also part of it, so I enjoy that myself. The thing is that if I look at these people, basically, they are mainly men, and they are men who master computers. It means that they are capable of understanding the language of computers to make music with. So basically, they are geeks, and they make machines for themselves. So it's very complicated. It's a lot of buttons, it's a lot of programming, it's a lot of stuff and menus and so on to scroll down to understand how it works. You have to program patterns, you have to program the sounds. It's a kind of very complex thing. And at the end, the output of that is that you program things, but you don't really play it live as an instrument. And so, personally, I think that music is not a luxury. This is really something we should be able to share all together, and not only by listening to it, but also by playing and making it and creating it. So I've been thinking about that, and all my background I explained before give me the opportunity to make a new instrument, a new proposal. It's not the only one, of course. You have plenty of proposals in the market today, but I make my own. And the aim is to have a complete platform that will be accessible enough for people to at least try to make sounds and make music out of that, and hopefully even learn the basics of rhythm, melodies, harmony, and how to build a song out of that. So it's called the Joué. It's right there. This is the instrument that they were playing right before. So it's made, you know, it's a digital instrument, but it looks like a traditional one. We're using wood and metal to make this product. We try to avoid all the plastic stuff. We make sustainable things. There is no battery inside, so in 10 years it will work again and again. And basically, it's a very simple design, you know? There is almost nothing on that, except that here we have a multi-touch screen, which is sensitive to pressure. This is the result of the 15 years I've been working on prior to that. And so the idea here is to, let me just make a demonstration rapidly. We have that board, and on top of that, we transform that board in different kind of instruments by using different layers, different pads made out of silicon. This one will be used to make drums, for instance. This one, it's obvious, it's a keyboard. You can play the piano or any kind of keyboard with that. But we also have strings that won't hurt your fingers, that you can play with. And also other kind of instruments, let's say it's a kind of xylophone or harp. If you don't know about the complex shape of a keyboard, of a piano, you can use this one and it will sound correct, always correct. So maybe I can make a small demonstration to show you how it works. So this instrument connects to a computer or to an iPad, for instance, or an iPhone. Let me set up that. Okay, so I just plug the board to the iPad. I use a wire. I know I'm not Wi-Fi, I'm not Bluetooth, but at least I know that it will work. And also I use the battery of the iPad to power the board. We're developing a small app where basically I will put the different skins on top of that. Let's start from this one, for instance. So here, I just transform the board on the drum pad. and I have prebuilt sounds, so I can change the sound I want to play with that. So it's very sensitive. You have all the velocity you want on that. It's very accurate. It's very fast. We can also add effects to that. So just with 2 hands and a few fingers, I can be very creative out of that without looking at any display. Okay, so it's a creative tool here for the drums, and then I just switch the layouts and take, for instance, this one. And here I'm playing an acoustic bass. And I hope you can feel all the small gestures and all the small nuances I'm making on the instrument. So, I can bend the notes, I can make glissando, and these kind of very subtle things. If I take another sound for this one, I will need my 2 hands for this one. So it's a very expressive tool, you know. It's digital, I'm playing digital sounds, but as the interface itself is very tangible, I can really interact with it as a real instrument, I mean as a physical instrument. And it has nothing in common with playing on a screen. Believe me, I did a multi-touch display prior to this one. But really here you can really feel your action, the way you act into the instrument and the sound that comes out of that. So my goal here is to use technology to make something creative, you know, to be creative out of that, to help people express themselves through technology, and to make the link with the previous talk. Yeah, it's okay, you can look at all the videos and all the things you want on your phone, but you can also be creative with these kind of tools and really find a way to express your emotions to others with music, for instance. For my part, it could be graphic arts or whatsoever. But the thing is that if we use technology the right way, we can use it to being there to help people being themselves, okay? Instead of using it to fault them, to forget themselves. I don't make a bigger demonstration than this. I mean, if everybody wants to try this, I'm happy to exchange on that. I don't remember if I have other slides on that. I think that's it. Yeah, just to make some information on that project. We launched this product, so I've been working on that during 3 years. We launched our first product for professional artists last year. It's a pure MIDI controller, so for people who knows, it's something that connects to professional software on the computer. So we have a lot of feedback from, I think you don't have it anymore. Try to see, yeah, okay. Should come. So we have professional artists using this to make music with. It's both on the electronic part, but also on the traditional music area. And we're receiving a lot of prizes and awards for this invention, which is great. And we are about to launch what I just demonstrated with the app here. So basically we are packaging a new offer for, let's say, everybody who wants to engage into music creation, but don't know how to start with, you know. So you even don't know if you prefer to make rhythm or melodies, or if you prefer drums or guitars or whatsoever. So with this tool, you'll be able to at least try it, and maybe you will play all of them. But we're also preparing a lot of contents to help people understand what is a rhythm, what is a chord, why these two notes are sounds good together, and basically having the basic theory of music, but on a playful way that you can engage with. I think that's it for today. This is my cat playing with my instrument. Maybe there is some questions, I don't know, in the audience. Yes?
Did you learn Microsoft?
Did you learn what?
Microsoft?
Did I learn Microsoft?
Yes. Well, learn the language, because that's how you program computers.
Ah, okay. So I'm not a programmer myself, in fact. I have ideas, I know a lot about technology, but I'm not good enough to program things. So the way I make my project is basically connecting with people, you know. If you want to make stuff, you have to connect with people and work with people. It's better than being alone. So I have developers developing things with me, and it's a complete team to do that. And some of them are very familiar with the Windows. Any other question on that? Okay. Yep.
How long does it take to play some
It's a good question. In fact, I don't have the answer yet because I think it's too early to answer that. But what I can tell you is that we are doing some workshops with people who never play music, and we did it in Bordeaux, in France. And in about 1 hour, we had 3 people with no musical background playing Billie Jean all together. So I can teach you to play the bass of Billie Jean in about 5 minutes, I guess. So you just do this. So it's a pattern, but you can make it because it's accessible. I mean, you don't have the complex gestures and you don't have to coordinate both hands doing different things. So even with 2 fingers, with the 2 hands, you can make it. It's the same thing for the drums or for the keyboard. Yeah?
Why do you try to reproduce existing instruments as opposed to coming up with, you know, whatever?
It's a good question. I can make crazy sounds too. We also have a lot of synthesizer inside. We can make crazy things. The thing is that I realized that when I make a demonstration about it, the acoustic sounds are the most difficult thing to do on the computer, and we use very basic sounds for the acoustic. But what makes it real is the way I play it. So it's the interface. This is why I use acoustic sound mainly. But we also have a lot of synthesizers inside and crazy sound to make a very broad, sound. Available for the players. Yes, of course. So on the app, sorry, I didn't do that, but there is, in fact, on each layer you have a record button, okay? So each time you hit it, you will record yourself, and when you hit again, you stop the recording, and then it will loop. So you can make loops very easily. Let's try to do it quickly. Sorry if it's not accurate. No, I have a metronome, so okay, I can play that. Okay, and when I'm ready. And then I can switch. And here I will add some. Okay, some chords. And I can record that. I can build a complete song out of that. And when I'm ready, I can do this. Sorry. So you get the thing. You can create your own song with that, and make loops that will, go over and over. And you can be very creative with that. You can also play with several instruments all together, so you can make a band. Yeah, okay. Time is over. Thank you.